My number one rule as a DM, I want you to play the character that you want to play. I want you to get excited about your narrative, your bio, your backstory. I want you to get excited about your character class, because if you bring that passion to the character, your avatar, to the table, that's going to help elevate us as a group. That's going to give me a lot of excitement as a dungeon master or as a player, if I'm a fellow player. And it's going to allow us to literally step out of space and time, create this narrative, do this D&D thing, and have a lot of fun. I want to create an experience as a DM or as a player that literally years from now, you're going to sit down and be like, remember that game we played with Fritz? That was awesome. And you can really see it in your mind's eye. That's what I aspire to at every moment. So I want you to play whatever character class you want to play. And this leads into this question, because I was recently asked, as we're getting ready to start a campaign this spring, about mid-spring, I've got to do a little bit of clean up on some modules I'm going to be running, and we're doing a session 0 to kind of talk about characters. But one of the players was like, Fritz, I want to play a beast class. And I'm like, absolutely. We'll work it in. And in that exploration and exploring it, this was the first time they were going to do this. And they said, well, have you ever played that as a player? I mean, you've been a DM. Have you ever played it as a player? And I said, absolutely. It is so much fun, but you need to accept the role-playing possibilities, ROLE versus ROLL. And I want to share with you an example, Fang Snarl. And I'm actually getting ready to play him. I'm going to try and play him. It's going to be up to the DM if that fits with the party. He's a barbarian. He's a gnoll. That's the template. And his backstory is he was part of a gnoll raiding party. And in raiding a caravan, there was a wizard there. And I'm kind of condensing it, right? There was a wizard there. Wizard wipes out the gnoll raiding party. Fang Snarl's still alive. Wizard casts a charm quest spell on him where he now has to discover, he's lawful evil. The Fang Snarl, the gnoll, he has to now discover what is good. There's this question, everything he thinks about, what is good? What is the good action? And he switches his alignment to lawful good. So he's a lawful good gnoll, but he still has all the customs and thoughts of a gnoll. So this gives me a chance to paint up and play a cool miniature, because we play with miniatures. Gives me a chance to play a barbarian with a unique template, but it offers a lot of interesting role-playing opportunities. And that's what I find so fun, because you're injecting a character class that is outside of the regular D&D narrative. Now, you have to be ready for that. What I mean by being ready for that is when we enter into a settlement, there's certain settlements, smaller settlements, Fang Snarl, he's not coming in. There's no way you're going to talk that past the local village or the town guard. So he's got to hang out in the woods. Or if they're entering into a bigger city, he's had to go in there either disguised, that could be physically disguised or perhaps magically disguised, which is easier at the higher levels, or going in there as a prisoner. He's been captured as a prisoner, but he has to kind of deal with that. But likewise, there's role-playing opportunities when you're in kind of the unsettled lands, the Badlands, where the exact opposite can happen. Now Fang Snarl has an inn there. So when you're playing a template of a beast race, it's going to be different than playing a dwarf, an elf, a human. Possibly even looking at some of the other sub-character classes and how they work. You have to be ready for that. Now, here's the other interesting role-playing opportunity. What is good? And this had me excited. And I'm really excited to try and play this in the upcoming campaign. In a previous game, because remember, Fang Snarl, he's lawful good, but he's a gnoll, and he still thinks like that. So the players capture some goblins, interrogate them. The usual kind of level 2 or 3 action where you capture a bunch of goblins. You find out it's part of a bigger plot, raiding the caravans, and it's some other type of big boss you have to go fight. So they're interrogating the goblins, the barbarian, the fighter, and it was a very combat-oriented party. Barbarian, fighter, cleric, paladin, and Fang Snarl, a barbarian. Fang Snarl's there setting up camp, makes a nice big fire, interrogate the goblins. Fang Snarl's like, great, now we can eat them. And the rest of the party kind of flipped out. They're like, we can't eat the goblins. He's like, absolutely. We always eat the prisoners. That's what you do, right? In Fangsnarl's mind, like, that's just what happens. That's normal. So the paladin flips out. The barbarian is trying to explain, like, that's not really what we do because we gave them our word that we would let them go or turn them over because they surrendered and just... we're not going to eat goblins. So Fangsnarl is wrestling with, but okay, is that good? Like, is that what we're supposed to do? And he's trying to, I'm role-playing this in my Fangsnarl voice. Like, he's trying to explain, like, but they're tasty. But if we just let them go, they're going to come back. Like, we don't have to keep promises, but keeping promises is part of being lawful good. And there's a lot of little... This is the funnest thing for me of playing a beast class. There are a lot of little role-playing opportunities that if you allow yourself to get into that moment, you can have some interesting dialogue. And if you can bolt that on to a DM who's willing to just kind of run with it and experiment with it, it becomes a lot of fun to play. A lot of fun to play. So going back to this, when I'm the DM, you can play whatever class you want to play. You can pull in whatever source you want to play. We'll make it work. And I want to challenge my players. I want to challenge you, even if you're not my player right now. You can be one day. Doing tabletop, doing virtual. I want to challenge you to play something different, to take this thing called D&D and let's do something different. Let's do something unique. Let's take your creativity as a person, inject it into your character, your avatar, and see what we can come up with in the game.